Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of T&T Kitchen Garage. We're out here in the garage, beautiful spring-like day, supposed to be 80 degrees, we're sweating already, and we have a project they're going to be working on. Drew's our garage man, so what's the project?
Today we're going to be working on a 1996 Ford Ranger. It's a 4-cylinder 2.3 liter, and we're going to be doing a timing belt change. The timing belt on this was really old. While I was driving, about 6-7 teeth in a row just ripped off. Car died. So we're going to be doing a step-by-step timing belt change and have a little fun. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to dive into this. First step, always unplug your battery. In my case, I took the whole thing out. Just easier, it gives you more room to work over there because you got a lot to do on that side. Then next thing you want to do is take off your intake tube here. You got one clamp back here. You want to undo there. You got a plug here, unplug that. Pop this tube off of your valve cover. Turn that up. You got another plug right here. Let's see if I can undo that one there. Oh man, that feels so good, dude. There we go. This plug is actually connected to the tube here, so you want to peel that out of there. Just like that. Alright, undo that. There. Voila! Alright, next thing you gotta do is you gotta get your accessory belt off here. You got your tensioner down right here. You wanna put your socket in there, turn it the right way, and then yank on it like this. And that relieves the tension on your belt. And then you can pull the belt off and just drop that out of the way. Alright, so now what you gotta do, you gotta take your AC pump off right here. You don't want to disconnect it, you just want to pull the bolts out and then hold it out of the way. You don't want to be releasing all your Freon into the air and have to get your AC filled back up and blah blah blah. So just avoid that by just unbolting it and holding it out of the way. Pretty long bolts. Nice. 10 millimeter on these bolts here. Like that, and then you can move your AC pump all over here. And then the next thing is underneath here. You want to get over here. You got this whole pulley bracket down here. And what you got here, you got a fat bolt there. You got two more fat bolts right down here. And then tucked right in the back here, you got a little bolt there. So you got that little one is a 10 millimeter, and these three bigger ones are all 13 millimeter. All right, a little trick if you're doing this by yourself, you're gonna have to hold this up while you get that out. So a little trick I got: take your breaker bar, run it underneath this pipe, and then wedge it up under there, underneath your throttle body, just like that, and that'll hold your AC pump up like that. Got our 13 millimeter. Get in there. Where is it? Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah. These bolts are pretty long as well. I think that one's out. Yeah. Right there. Big old fat sucker. Change to a shorter extension. Yank on these ones down here. Little knuckle buster spot. Just like that. Two of those. This third one here, I'm not going to take it all the way out because now you got the whole weight of this bracket resting on that thin little 10 millimeter back there. So I'm going to leave that one in there so that could bear some of the weight, and take the 10 millimeter one out. Way back in there. Owie. There it is. Now, get this one out here. This is going to feel like it's tight all the way until you are on the last couple threads, because again, you've got this whole weight of this big bracket sitting on this one bolt. Crank, crank, crank. Almost there. There we go. Alright. Now this next part is the hardest part of this job, because as you can see, you got the air compressor here, and this bracket is freaking giant. So you got to squeeze that out here, out this little spot right here. I think it's like giving birth, you know. They say it's like pushing a watermelon through a hole the size of what, a quarter? I don't know. I'm not a woman. So we gotta figure out how we're gonna give birth right here. So easiest, well, there's no easy way, it's all hard, is you gotta get this up. Let me take this out so I get more wiggle room. Get this up as high as you can. And then just do whatever you can to get this out of here. Just like that. And then put your breaker bar back. And this is where you're going to see how this is actually holding this up out of the way for you. Booyah! Now if your truck has power steering, you're actually going to have a power steering pump here. This is a bypass because this one has no power steering. So it's just a blank pulley. If you got power steering, you don't want to disconnect that one either, just like the air compressor. So you'll just unbolt it, move it out of the way. The main thing is you want to get this pulley out of the way here, because down in here, the pulley comes out right in here and it blocks your cover plate, your timing belt cover there. So that's the only reason you got to take this whole thing out, is just to get the timing belt cover off. Thanks, Ford. Alright, so now we've got access to the timing belt cover, and you got one bolt right here, one little tiny one holding it, and that's a 8 millimeter. And so you got that, and then you got these clips. all the way around it. You gotta unclip to get it out. And there it is, a little tiny one. Alright, now you want to make sure you're all set on top dead center. Alright, on your, let's see if I can get something to point. On your crankshaft pulley, I don't know if you can see down here, there's a little line right there where my screwdriver is. Right there. You want that line to be right at your top dead center right here. Another stupid thing Ford did, this is the only spot that has timing marks, is on this cover. So once you take the cover off, you have nothing to reference where your timing marks go. So thanks again, Ford. And then your camshaft here, you got this little peephole. Undo that little grommet. And then you'll want to look in there. We're not gonna be able to see, but you want to look in there, and there's going to be an arrow on the camshaft, and then an arrow on the block. And you want those arrows lined up before you do that. If your timing belt snapped, you're not going to be able to do it. You're just going to have to take this all off and do that. But make sure your crankshaft is on top dead center. It has to be top dead center. If it's 10 degrees before, it'll start, but it's going to sit there and miss and skip and run like garbage. If it's past, it may still start, but most likely it won't, because you've already gone past your compression stroke. You're not going to have any, it'll spark, but it won't have any power. Keep the engine rotating. So we're going to throw this big giant socket on there. This is a 7/8. I'm going to throw this down on the crankshaft bolt down there and turn it over to top dead center. See, like it's getting tight right there. That means it's on compression stroke, but it's not top dead center, so that means it's on compression stroke of cylinders 2 and 3. Right. Looks like right about there. Okay, let me check in here. Pretty good. Alright, you're going to want to look in there and make sure your things are set, because you could be 180 degrees out. If your timing belt snapped, alright, I'd suggest taking your valve cover up. Just easy to do. Just pull your throttle body off right here. There's 4 bolts. Pull that off, and then you've got 4 small, I believe they're 8mm on each side, and then your valve cover will come off. And then use that to reference what stroke you're on, because you could be out and you could be sparking when it's trying to do the exhaust stroke. It won't start. There. Alright. And once you got everything lined up, you can take your timing belt cover off. Just undo all these little clips everywhere. This one back here in the back is the hardest one to get to. So what I do is I pull on it, give it a little more slack, and then try and push down on it down there. And hopefully it comes free. Alright, the easiest way to get this out is to go straight down. Get past your AC pipes and then straight out. And now you've got access to your timing belt. So what you do to get your timing belt off here is you want to release tension. This is your tensioner right here. And then right underneath the belt, you can't see it tucked back here, there's a bolt. Loosen that up, and then you're gonna have to push your tensioner pulley all the way to the left to release tension on your belt. And then after you got the tension off, tighten that bolt back up so the tensioner stays out. And then you want to go ahead and take your crankshaft pulley bolt off. That bolt is really hard to get off. So what I suggest is getting your breaker bar, putting that 7/8 socket on it. Bring your breaker bar across here, following the same line as this socket, and set it against your frame here. And then once you got it there, go ahead and turn the engine over just for a second, just one click, and that'll create enough force to knock that bolt loose. Because most likely you are not going to get that bolt loose on your own. Alright, this is a little tip I came up with here. Probably not the best way to do it, but this is how I do it. I got my tire iron here. Comes factory in most cars. And it's got this little lip here for popping off your hubcaps or your lug nut covers. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to slide it in here. I'm going to go underneath the spring bolt here and get it right over the tensioner pulley, and then just yank up on it like this, and that pulls it back, releases the tension off of the belt, and then tighten up the tensioner bolt down there, and that'll hold it in place for you. And you can pull this out, and as you see, the belt's nice and loose now. Alright, now that we got the timing belt cover off, you're going to be able to see the marks on your camshaft here, and then you got your oil pulley down there. So on your camshaft, if you look right in there, you can see there's an arrow on the back black part, and then one on the camshaft pulley there. You see that?
I can't see shit. I could see where they... Oh, back there.
Yeah. Yeah, you see those marks there? You gotta line those up dead on. Another indicator you can look at is right here on the very top. There's a diamond. See it right there? That should be pointing straight up, 12 o'clock, right down the middle of your valve cover. And down on your oil pump, this is going to be a little difficult to see, but there's two diamonds right up there underneath the belt, and then right there on the pulley. But you got to probably get more over here to see it.
Okay, I can't.
Right there on the back of the pulley.
Oh, on the back again.
Yeah. Maybe I switch these sides.
Well, I was just about to...
Okay.
Oh, okay, that'd be better.
Got it?
Waiting for it to focus. There we go.
Alright, so there's a diamond there on the pulley, and there's one right on the plastic right behind it. And then you line those up dead on. So you should have those lined up dead on, the triangles on the camshaft lined up dead on, and then the mark on the crankshaft pulley dead on.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see that.
It's there, trust me.
There's 3 minutes of editing.
Alright, so you want to make sure that's all lined up, everything's good. We got the timing belt on here, crankshaft pulley back on, and should be about ready to go, as long as your marks are lined up there, your marks are lined up on your oil pump, and your crankshaft is on top dead center. Should be good to go, and we'll start putting it back together. Alright, putting this back together, it's going to go in reverse order. We'll start by putting the timing belt cover back on. Bow, bow, bow. Clips are in. Got your little stubby 8mm bolt going right back in there. Fail. Oh man. Socket was way back there. Mechanic problems. Dropping things. Let's try this again. Get this on there and we can tighten it up. Alright, don't have to be too tight, it's just holding your cover on. Got that. Now the hard part again. Got to put the pulleys back in. So, let's see, go. Now, like I said, whatever way you can figure out how to get this thing in here, more power to you. It's crappy design, but stuff you gotta deal with. Be sure not to damage any of your hoses when you're doing this. There it goes. Alright. This back in there. Alright. Got all our bolts. I find it best to start with the big long one at the top. You can kind of stick it through the hole, push it all the way in, and then up here you can see the end of the bolt. It makes it a lot easier to try to line the bolt up with the hole. Just get it going a little bit. You don't want to tighten it up right away. You want to make sure all the rest of your bolts are gonna line up. So tighten it up, you won't be able to move this thing around to get the rest of your bolts in here. You got the bottom one here. Move this around a little bit so you can get it in there, because it's going to be sitting on the bolt, making it hard to turn. Alright, that one started. Next one. That one's going. Now your 10mm one, like I said, if you got your stuff organized, is shorter than the 4 that go into the air compressor. It's easy to tell which one it is. It goes back here in the hole. And it feels like that one's going. I just want to snug it up until I got all of these snugged up. And then I'll go through and make sure everything's tight. Taut. Alright. So now next, now that we got that all tightened up and ready to go, throw the bolts in your AC pump here. Just getting started. A few threads. Pick that up. I like to tighten them in a crisscross pattern so it doesn't sit there all jacked up. And I'm holding it so that it's flush here. The side of the air compressor is flush there with the bracket, so that all of your pulleys are in line with the belt. If you got it all cock-walled, you're not going to be, the belt's going to be all rubbing and squeaking, making noise. Nobody likes a squeaky car. That's that. So now we'll put our accessory belt on. Now, what I do with the accessory belt, make it easy, I put the belt on all the pulleys except for your air conditioning pump, because it's hard to hold your tensioner back while you're trying to put your belt on something else down here. Caught it down there. Alright, looks like it's on everything. Bring back the tensioner. And you can see you can just roll it over top of your AC pump here. And let your tensioner go. Make sure everything's on. Looks like it is. Alright, put the intake back in. Don't forget all your electrical connections. There's one there. And this one here. And this housing is a pain. Just gotta line it up just right. Get it on there. Flip it down. And that's it. Got the battery. My negative connection's all jacked up. I gotta go get a new one. Thing busted. Tightening it up. Thing just snapped right off. So go get a new connection for that, but whatever. It's in. Oh, don't forget to plug your AC pump back in if you want to stay cool. If you want to be hot, leave it unplugged. Everything looks good. Let's try to start it. Stupid key lock. There we go. Job in the 1996 Ford Ranger.